Already, man. This thing is already underway. These guys are already locked in and going at it, man. Shedeur Sanders and Deshaun Watson finished.
The Cleveland Browns are once again navigating the turbulent waters of a high-stakes offseason, where the hope for a championship is increasingly clashing with the grim reality of a franchise in potential crisis. At the epicenter of this struggle is a narrative involving two vastly different quarterbacks, each carrying the weight of massive expectations, yet trending in opposite directions. The situation in Cleveland has reached such a pitch that even the standard training camp routines have become sources of viral drama and intense local scrutiny. We find Deshaun Watson, a highly paid and historically successful veteran, entering what meant
break. I wasn't watching as much guards.
I had to text. Hang on. I got to pull the text up.
I was on LeBron watch. Daryl and I sent some texts about LeBron.
You were. Hang on.
I feel is the ultimate survival test for his career. On the other side, there is the undeniable, rising force of Shedeur Sanders, whose work ethic and branding are slowly creating an aura that feels like the future is arriving whether Cleveland is ready for it or not. The atmosphere is thick with skepticism, as local media voices have begun to express an almost morbid fascination with the potential collapse of the Watson era. This isn't just about a quarterback competition anymore, it's about a franchise's soul and whether the massive financial and emotional investment in Watson will pay off or leave them in a recurring loop of starting over from scratch. One of the most defining moments of this offseason saga recently occurred when veteran beat reporter Mary Kay Cabot attempted to clarify comments that had spiraled out of control across the NFL blogging landscape.
That they can't start that guy, they can't put that guy on the field. If they do, I won't be what. I don't even have to say that anymore, okay? If they start Deshaun Watson week 1, I've already got it lined up with Jimmy Hamlin.
Her previous observation about Watson experiencing what she called shoulder fatigue during minicamp had been used by critics as the ultimate evidence of his physical decline. However, in a candid follow-up, Cabot noted that her statements were intended as mere conjecture based on a few inconsistencies she witnessed at the tail end of practice drills where Watson didn't seem to have the usual snap in his arm. While she was careful to distance herself from any report of a formal medical setback or a recurring surgical issue, the damage to public perception was already done. Fans and analysts have seized on this conjecture because it aligns with a long-standing fear that Watson's body may simply not be built for the rigors of
minicamp, Daryl. And I know you were too. And during voluntary OTAs, there were some passes that Deshaun Watson threw where people, not us in the media, people that were, employees of the team, staffers, I don't know, they're wearing the brown stuff standing on the sidelines. There were passes that Deshaun threw.
A full NFL season after years of major injuries and inactivity. This discrepancy between the reporter's nuanced observation and the public's apocalyptic interpretation illustrates the extreme pressure under which Watson is now operating. In stark contrast to the reports of inconsistency in the veterans' camp, Shedeur Sanders is currently delivering a masterclass in professional preparation. Recent footage shows Sanders training at UNLV in Las Vegas, surrounded by an elite supporting cast of fellow young stars like first-round pick Casey Concepcion, Carnell Tate, and Diami Brown. Sanders isn't just practicing, he is building a brand based on elite accuracy and a spatial awareness that seems beyond his years. The highlight of these sessions is a drill where Sanders successfully completes passes with his eyes literally closed, a move designed to demonstrate a high degree of muscle memory and telepathic timing with his receivers. To some, like media cynics Ken Carman and Anthony Lima, these parlor tricks are nothing more than Instagram filler, meaningless fluff in the grand scheme of an NFL season. However, for those looking for reasons to believe in the next generation, this kind of clinical excellence, even in shorts and a t-shirt, signals a psychological readiness that makes the struggle of the veterans feel even more pronounced. The skepticism coming out of Cleveland's local media markets is perhaps the most brutal indicator of the current state of affairs. During recent segments on 92.3 The Fan, the cynicism was palpable, with hosts mocking the obsession with off-season training videos. They've described a drinking game for fans who have to endure the constant flood of workout clips from quarterbacks who haven't yet proven they can lead the team back to dominance. More alarmingly, some influential voices have
numbnuts told Usher that the Browns jersey he should wear at the concert this past week was the number 4.
Hey, Daryl.
Yeah.
So this honeymoon was great for me, right? Because I got to unplug.
Openly stated that Deshaun Watson is cooked, suggesting that they expect to watch 17 games of inconsistent football before inevitably pivoting back to the scouting trail at the NFL Combine. This level of exhaustion within the media corps reflects a broader sentiment in the city. Fans are tired of visualization drills and air-punching clips. They want to see the velocity that justified the contract, and every report of a short-arm deep ball or inconsistent zip is taken as an omen that the Browns are currently without a truly functional quarterback. Analyzing the dynamic of availability versus talent, the conversation frequently returns to the fundamental differences in where these two athletes stand. Watson is managing his surgically repaired shoulder, entering the final phase of a historic and controversial contract that hasn't yielded the results he was paid for. His recovery is treated as a fragile.
I did not. It was in the queue. I did. Okay. So I was going to send you a text that you should really unplug and focus on your new wife and not worry about
ongoing saga that requires maintenance days and veteran breaks. Sanders, meanwhile, represents a younger, fresher profile, characterized by high availability and an unrelenting desire to dominate every snap. The fear among many in Cleveland is that Watson's experience won't matter if he cannot physically withstand a 5-month gauntlet. This has created a vacuum where Sanders isn't just seen as a potential backup, but as a
layoff, or he'll be so laughably bad that it'll be time for Shedeur Sanders. Like, I'm not going to sit here and really waste too much breath. I'm not going to get my blood pressure all out of sorts coming back off my honeymoon because something clicked in my
lighthouse in a storm for an organization that is desperate for reliability. The idea that a team must look forward to February to draft a real quarterback while paying $250 million for a current one is a heavy cross for Cleveland to carry, and it is shaping the expectations for the future into a high-risk gamble. Looking specifically at
You're going to have to come take it. We got to get into this, man. Welcome to Keep the Vision. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the channel. Hit that bell notification and hype the video. That'd be greatly appreciated. As always, we've got to get right into things. So we know Browns head
training methods, the contrast becomes a clash of philosophies. On one hand, you have the eyes-closed pinpoint drills that show a rising star mastering his craft. On the other, you have Watson, filmed in recent weeks showing high levels of exhaustion after routine practices. This imagery, captured by onlookers and insiders, is becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy of decline. Media critics highlight how easy it is to look good in private summer workouts with no pressure, yet Watson's occasional lack of zip even in these low-stress environments is viewed through a highly pessimistic lens. The organizational response to these narratives has been defensive, with coaches like Todd Monken attempting to reframe the story by praising Watson's energy and commitment. But the fan base has heard these praises before, and they're
because you have a potential to have a long-standing future with him. I don't think there's any chance you have a future with Deshaun Watson with him playing. But hey, may the best man win, and it looks like they are locked in, ready to.
Tolerance for offseason improvements is reaching its breaking point as they prepare for what some describe as the grueling trek of another challenging football year. As the Browns head into training camp, the X factor continues to be how the organization manages this collision of narratives. With rookies like KC Concepcion already showing elite flashes and showing signs of strong chemistry with the youth movement, the call for a Sanders takeover is becoming louder every day.
Man, they trying to win the job.
Another day, man, in the books. Great work. Got my dogs, Luke, KC out here. Got a couple young guys that's in college that's gonna, you know what I'm saying, get that work in with us.
This isn't just about athletic talent, it is about momentum. Sanders has the cultural momentum, the physical momentum, and the aura of the undeniable. Watson has the contract, the injuries, and the looming threat of irrelevance if his arm doesn't return to elite form. The battle between the parlor trick sensation and the veteran will be the primary storyline for Cleveland fans, and the margin for error is non-existent. In a league that prioritizes results over legacy, the current situation feels less like a competition and more like the inevitable arrival of a new era. The world is watching to see if Watson can finally answer his critics, or if
exhausted from what he just finished. Listen to this.
Another day, man, in the books. Great work. Got my dogs, Luke, KC out here. Got a couple young guys that's in college that's gonna head them, so.
The skepticism will end with Shedeur Sanders raising his hands as the undisputed savior. Ultimately, the tragedy of the current Cleveland situation is the erosion of faith. The organization has built a talented, eclectic roster full of weapons who are hungry for a quarterback who can simply get them the ball accurately and consistently. While insiders try to walk back their most alarming reports to prevent panic, the sheer volatility of the conversation reveals how
I failed to send that text. I thought I did.
So the only thing that I really was doing was I was monitoring the LeBron stuff. The rest of it I wasn't paying attention to. That was the first time I've heard that Deshaun Watson audio. But the one
you were ready to call in at a moment's notice.
The one thing that really did click for me while I was out there was
the city is to giving up on the current path. They are done with metaphors, done with visualization, and certainly done with reports of fatigue. The contrast between Watson's physically taxed profile and Sanders' viral display of pinpoint precision with his eyes closed is more than just sports news, it's a cultural shift. If Watson fails to perform, the move to Sanders will be one of the most widely supported tactical pivots in the team's history. The upcoming season is the point where the offseason work finally meets the padded reality of the grass, and in the high-stakes game of professional football, availability and results will always speak louder than any private workout clip or social media highlights.